My name is Evelyn Marlowe, and for most of my 70 years, I believed that love, especially a mother's love, was something that was always repaid with tenderness. I believe sacrifice meant something. I believe gratitude was natural. But beliefs can be shattered, and mine were. On the day I paid for my daughter's wedding and was treated like I was something to hide. Before everything fell apart, my life was peaceful. I lived in St. Mary, Jamaica, in a small coral-painted home tucked between banana trees and the slow hum of evening insects. The Caribbean breeze always carried the perfume of frangipane and sea salt. People might say I did not have much, but I had serenity, memories, and a legacy built from generations before me. For decades, I taught history at the local secondary school, saving every spare dollar and every spare lesson of love for my only child, Leah. Leah had always been sharp, radiant, and determined. As a girl, she would stare at magazines and say, "Mama, one day I will live in a city with glass buildings taller than mountains." I believed her. I wanted that future for her. So when she was accepted into a prestigious American university, Georgetown School of Business, I did everything within my power to send her. Quietly, without telling her the cost, I sold the last piece of property my family owned, a fertile plot overlooking the coastline where my grandfather once planned to build orchards. Signing those sale papers felt like signing away a part of my ancestors. But I kept my smile steady because I believed Leah's success would keep them alive in another way. Years later, Leah built the life she dreamed of. She worked for an investment firm, married a man from a wealthy family, Ethan Ward, a man whose voice always sounded like he was rehearsing a speech. And soon, her wedding planning began. The venue she chose was a grand estate in Buckhead, Atlanta, a place so polished it looked like royalty slept there. When she told me she needed extra financial help to secure the venue, I didn't hesitate. I wired the money without breathing, the way a mother leaps into a river to save her child without thinking about the cost. She thanked me with a short message. "You're the best, Mama. Couldn't have done this without you." I smiled at that message for days. Little did I know, that message was the last time my daughter would speak to me as if I mattered. But what happened at the wedding would change
The morning of
everything.
Leah's wedding felt like stepping into another universe. I woke early in my hotel room in Atlanta, too elegant, too cold, too silent. I steamed my dress, a deep sapphire gown stitched by a seamstress in Jamaica who had known me since childhood. The lace shimmered under the soft lamplight, and for a moment, I felt beautiful, like a woman worthy of being seen. When the car pulled up to the Crescentvale estate, I could hardly breathe. The building looked like something painted in a fairy tale. Gleaming pillars, manicured lawns, and stone fountains taller than coconut trees back home. My heart swelled with pride. My daughter had made it. Inside, crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls. Guests in designer gowns and polished chutes glided across marble floors. I searched for Leah, expecting her arms to wrap around me. Instead, a stranger greeted me, a woman with a sleek ponytail, a clipboard, and eyes that never truly looked at me. "Name?" she asked softly. "Evelyn Marlowe, mother of the bride." She nodded, but her smile tightened in a way that felt rehearsed. polite but distant, like she was swallowing a truth she didn't care to share. "Right this way," she murmured. She walked quickly, too quickly, past the grand hall, past rows of silk-covered chairs, past everything I believed was mine to be part of. My pulse quickened. "Are we not going to the ceremony?" I asked. She didn't slow down. When the narrow hallway ended, she pushed open swinging kitchen doors. The smell of frying oil, disinfectant, and stainless steel swallowed the air. Dishwashers clattered. Staff rushed around. And there, beside the two towering silver trash bins and a lonely chair, she stopped. "This is your seat." Her voice was flat, businesslike. I stared at her, unsure if I had misunderstood her accent, the room, or the entire world. "My daughter must think I'm sitting with her family," I whispered. "No," she replied calmly. "This is where you were assigned." Assigned? Like luggage, like clutter. My throat tightened. Before I could speak, Leah stormed through the kitchen doors, her dress glowing like moonlight. But instead of joy, her face held irritation. No warmth, no welcome. "Mama, please don't make this difficult. There were last-minute guests, important people. There wasn't space." "Space?" I repeated. "Not even one seat?" "It's temporary," she snapped. "Just stay here. Don't ruin things, please." She didn't wait for my answer. She turned and walked away. And just like that, the doors swung shut, leaving me in the shadows with the scent of garbage and the ache of betrayal.
The next morning,
that was
sunlight
not the end.
poured through my
It was
hotel
the
window,
beginning.
but it did nothing to warm the cold resolve sitting in my chest. I sat at the desk with the photographer's card in front of me, Marcus Hale Photography, and dialed the number with steady fingers. When he answered, his tone was polite, professional, unaware of the storm he was about to join. "Mr. Hale," I began, voice calm and controlled, "this is Evelyn Marlowe. I was at the Ward Marlowe wedding yesterday." There was a brief pause, just long enough for me to know he remembered. "Yes," he said slowly, "I saw you near the service hallway. Not many people notice the invisible, but he did." "Good," I replied. "Then you already understand why I'm calling." I explained my request with precision. I wanted a private photo shoot at the estate today, where the truth happened. And I wanted a preview gallery released publicly online before the official wedding photos ever reached the newlyweds. He hesitated, not because he disagreed, but because he understood exactly what this would mean. "You're asking me to rewrite the visual story." "No," I corrected softly. "I'm asking you to reveal the part they tried to erase." Silence. Then, "I'll be there at 2. The line disconnected. My plan was in motion. Before leaving the room, I wrote something. Not a letter, but an invoice. Clean, formal, legally worded. A single charge. Estate venue fee, paid by Evelyn Marlowe. Below, gift revoked due to disrespect. Amount now due in full within 30 days. No anger, no insult, just business. At the estate later, Marcus met me near the grand entrance. The venue was quiet now. No champagne, no music, just the skeleton of wealth left behind after the performance ended. He followed as I led him down the hall, back to the exact corner where my dignity was tested. He lifted his camera. There was no hesitation.
He photographed the truth. Me, sitting tall, shoulders back, eyes steady, beside polished metal bins in an empty chair. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I let the camera record the dignity they tried to bury. Marcus captured everything: angles, shadows, silence. And with every shutter click, the humiliation transformed into evidence. By the time we finished, I no longer felt like the rejected mother hiding behind a kitchen door. I felt like a woman reclaiming what was hers. Time passed strangely in that hidden corner of the estate, slow enough for pain to echo, yet fast enough that I could barely hold on to my thoughts. I sat there, beside those polished metal bins, as voices, laughter, and music drifted through the swinging doors like reminders of a world I was now uninvited to. Every applause felt like thunder, every laugh like glass cracking. I tried to hold myself still, composed, dignified, because dignity was the one thing life had never taken from me. But with each clatter of dishes, with each swirl of champagne poured for strangers, something inside me began to shift. It wasn't just sadness anymore. It was realization. My daughter, the child I had poured my heart, savings, and heritage into, did not see me as her foundation. She saw me as her flaw. There were brief moments when the doors swung open wide enough for me to glimpse pieces of the celebration. Leah's first dance, Ethan lifting her hand as though she were royalty, guests clinking glasses to toast perfection. All while the woman who funded the fantasy sat hidden like a stain. At one point, a server, no older than 19, stopped mid-step when he spotted me. His eyes widened with shock, then softened with something rare in that building: humanity. He poured a glass of cold water and quietly handed it to me. "No one should sit here," he whispered. Just 6 words, yet they hit harder than anything Leah had said. Because he saw me. Tears welled, stinging, but I forced myself not to break. Not here, not now. The boy touched my arm gently before returning to his work. That small act, kindness given when cruelty was expected, created a spark where shame had been. A spark of awareness, a spark of strength, a spark of strategy. Suddenly, humility was no longer the weight on my shoulders. It was the weapon in my hand. Because I finally understood. I didn't lose my daughter today. I simply discovered who she had become. And when truth reveals itself, one must decide whether to suffer or to respond. So I stood, not weak, not ashamed, but steady. On a small table near the entrance, earlier I'd noticed the photographer's business cards. Marcus Hale, photography. He had been everywhere during the ceremony, documenting every smile, every crafted illusion. And now, his work would become the canvas for my truth. Slowly, I lifted my chin, walked past the bustle of the kitchen, and slipped a card from the neatly stacked pile. My fingers closed around it, not trembling, steady. For the first time that day, I felt powerful. This was no longer humiliation. This was the opening move. 2 weeks passed, quiet as a blade sliding into its sheath. I returned home to Jamaica, to my veranda, my orchids, my ocean wind, and waited, not with bitterness, not with rage, but with certainty. Because truth does not need to hurry. Truth always arrives. Then, one morning, my email chimed. Subject: Preview Gallery Live. From Marcus Hale Photography. My breath stayed calm, but my pulse, it carried thunder. The gallery link waited behind a password, and when I opened it, my chest tightened, not with sadness, but with pride. There I was, in that sapphire dress, seated beside cold silver bins and a forgotten chair, but I didn't look discarded. I looked unbroken. The photographs were haunting, artistic, deliberate, a visual testimony of dignity under cruelty. Every angle told the same message. The world may try to dim a woman, but it cannot steal her light. I didn't share the link. I didn't have to, because only hours later, my phone exploded with notifications. My daughter and her husband, seeking praise, had already sent the preview gallery to every guest, every colleague, every member of their new high society circle. Expecting glamour, they received honesty. That evening, as the sun dripped gold across my garden, my phone rang. I answered, and Leah's voice sliced through the line, breathless, hysterical. "Mama, why? Those photos? Everyone is talking. You ruined everything." I listened, calm as the tide. "Ruined," I echoed softly. "No, my child. I simply revealed the part of the story you hid." "You embarrassed us," she cried. "No," I corrected, voice steady as stone. "You embarrassed yourselves. I only documented it." Silence, then sobbing, then anger, then begging. "Mama, please, take them down." I closed my eyes, feeling the warm Jamaican breeze against my skin, the same breeze that once carried lullabies to my baby girl. "No," I said gently, "because those photos aren't revenge. They are truth, and truth belongs to the world." She tried one last weapon: guilt. "I thought you loved me." "I do," I whispered. "Enough to teach you the lesson life surely would, but far less gently." I ended the call, not out of cruelty, but because the conversation and the illusion were over. Weeks later, a package arrived. Inside was a framed print, the strongest photograph from the collection. My eyes in that picture didn't hold humiliation. They held sovereignty. I placed it on my wall, not as a reminder of pain, but as a monument to transformation. Because that day, I didn't lose a daughter. I found myself.